Hey, Courtney, it's so nice to have you on the show today. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. It's really a pleasure to be your guest. Thanks for having me on, Elisha.
Beautiful. And thank you so very much for being here. You see, I truly appreciate it. And you see, Courtney, oftentimes I love to thank my guests for two things. And I do this so often to the point where it has become my anthem. So, firstly, I want to say thank you so very much, Courtney, for investing in yourself. You see, you are on this platform right now because you invested in yourself. And oftentimes, Courtney, I love to make reference to the amazing mango tree. You see, some
Mm,
months back, I was on a particular road, and just by the roadside, there was this tall, unattractive mango tree. And I use the word unattractive because the mango tree's got no mangoes on it, and the leaves were all dry. So I just walked past it and I went my way. But you see, Courtney, just recently, I was on that same road. And this time around, a lot's changed about the mango tree, you see. The mango tree caught my attention pretty good from a distance. And immediately I got the urge to move so close to it, of which I did, and it wowed me. Because now the mango tree's got a lot of mangoes on it, beautiful green leaves and healthy branches, and not just mangoes now, but ripe mangoes. It was a special moment for me that day. I was so excited. I was just staring at the beauty of the fruit, the tree, the branches. Oh boy, what a lovely moment it was. Here is my point. The fact that you dedicated your time, energy, and resources to becoming the amazing Courtney that you are today, that alone has made it really impossible for me to skip you. And that's why you see you got the request from me because I was attracted to the fruit of all that you're doing. Your insights, your philosophies, the impact your work is having, they're amazing. And just before I sent you the request, I said to myself, I've got to benefit from these beautiful things Courtney's doing. Not only me now, but even the audience. And here we are today with the amazing Courtney. So thank you so very much for investing in yourself. And
beautiful.
secondly, thank you for saying yes to the invite because if you had said nope, there was nothing Elisha could do about it. Thank you so much.
Well, you are so welcome. You're so welcome. And obviously, you're on a growth path yourself, or else you wouldn't be
Beautiful.
in a position to be
Mhm.
asking so many people to join you in this forum. So
Yeah,
it's good to meet a fellow traveler on the path,
beautiful.
you know?
I love
Yeah.
that. I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So let's get started. You see, I'm quite excited to have you on the show today, Courtney, for two reasons. Firstly, my interest in knowledge seeking. I believe in order for one to transition from a terrible situation to that of a beautiful one, I believe it takes the application of knowledge, quality information, and not just knowledge now, but the application of it. And you see, Courtney, ever since I discovered that light in the Hebrew means knowledge and darkness means ignorance, I've been so keen to knowledge seeking because I do not want to remain in the dark. So that's going to make our conversation today very important to me and even to the listeners. The second reason why
Excellent.
I'm excited to have the amazing Courtney on the show is for the sake of the audience. You see, Courtney, we live in an age where information is as abundant as grains of sand. We've got lots of information flying out there. So these folks trust me for quality, eye-opening, and very important information, of which I am totally convinced that our conversation is going to be insightful and impactful. So, for that reason, Courtney, let's get started with your introduction. Talk to us
All
about
right.
your personal or professional journey, because right now we are so curious. We want to know how Courtney got here. Then afterwards, I've gotten some beautiful questions for you. Okay, Courtney, over to you.
Oh, so you just want me to jump right in? Okay. Um, Goodness, how did I get here? Well, let me try to give you the most expedient version. I too, like you, have always been a seeker, and wanting to constantly be learning, growing, but also understanding the bigger picture of not just why we're here. I mean, and I don't know that I have the answer to that yet, but um, making the very most of our experience in this lifetime. Now, I know that sounds really broad, but to bring it back down to earth, I have focused on studying human behavior why we do the things we do, why certain people achieve their goals with ease or relative ease, and why other people seem lost or in a place of being defeated. I've been a student of that because I've been curious about it my whole life. And that led me to earn degrees in psychology and counseling psychology. And I was also drawn to the world of business. And so I started my career within human resources, believing that that was the right place to bring in my interest in human beings and why they behave the way they do and how people can maximize their chances for being successful, combining all that with a real world application in a business setting. And I then spent 26 years on that path in a variety of roles, but with a significant focus on helping to develop leaders in a large, in the context of a large corporate environment, global, 50,000 employees. So not as big as some of the biggest places, but certainly sizable enough. And throughout that 26 years, working with hundreds of leaders, literally, and seeing, different career paths and how some people's just keeps going up and up, how some people would peter out at a certain point, and how some people would not just sort of peter out, but actually take a fall. And then, what do they do after that? And over time, I knew what I wanted to be able to do to be more impactful in the way that I found rewarding was I really wanted to take all that I had learned in watching people's careers rise and fall. I wanted to take all that knowledge and experience and be able to work one-on-one with folks who are reaching some kind of point of frustration or impasse in their professional life where they want more, but they don't really know why they're not achieving it yet or what they need to do to achieve it. And so now I have the good fortune to spend my time as an independent consultant. I have my own firm that I started, where I'm helping ambitious leaders, typically leaders who are working within, large scale corporations, to break through to that next level, however high they want to go, and, position themselves for bigger roles, greater visibility, but most importantly, roles where they can have a bigger impact. And I also help them to develop the resilience that they need in order to not just, achieve a role of significant responsibility and consequence, but also so that they can continue to thrive in all ways while they're there. So big picture, I'm here now because of that innate drive that I've always had to observe, what leads people to be successful and what leads people to not be. And I also was always very sensitive to people's frustrations when they felt that they were hitting some kind of a wall and they didn't know how to break through. And a lot of times the solution was easier than they thought, but they just didn't have the right guidance. So anyway, my study of that from an academic standpoint, but then my study of it just by virtue of working with so many folks in a real world scenario, and kind of learning what distinguishes those who go on to greatness versus those who, don't. It's brought me to this place where I can leverage that to help individuals really meet and exceed their potential in life. And that, for me, is one of the most rewarding things about, what I get to do.
Amazing, beautiful. It's so you shouldn't stop talking. The part that caught my attention, you said the solution is simple, but they don't just have the right guidance. That's amazing. And you see, with what you're
Yeah.
doing now, you're making the world a better place because when folks can lead right and pursue their purpose right and do these things effectively, it will definitely have beautiful impact on the world. So you're a great asset to this planet, I tell you. And I truly
Thank
appreciate you.
you.
Thank you for all that you're doing. So I would love us to
Thank you.
start first with failure, all right? How can failure lead to growth? Got it?
Oh, I mean, I actually think that you don't get growth unless you have failure,
That's right.
right? And that's a hard lesson for many to learn, especially those of us who, for whatever reason, have maybe been very driven to achieve and have had a certain amount of success achieving. And we then become, we have almost this expectation that we either achieve or we fail. And if, and and I don't know if I'm going to be saying this well, but you know, the risk for some people who've been high achievers for a long time is that they equate success with achieving, and achieving always means um, no mistakes. And that's just not the reality of how the world or life works, because things are going to go wrong. They just will. The key is, what do you do when they go wrong? How do you view that? And do you have, as Carol Dweck talks about, I'm sure you've heard of Carol Dweck and you know her construct of growth mindset. But you know, the issue for folks is not making a mistake or not, or having a failure, to put it, you know, more starkly, or not. It's, what do you do in the face of that, and how does that experience of either a mistake or, on a grander scale, a failure, you know, do you then close down and beat yourself up and say, oh, I'm terrible, I'm, you know, I messed up in this really big way, I guess I'm done, you know, like I can't move forward from here? I mean, some people actually take that approach. Or is your reaction, oof, that was, you know, painful, embarrassing, maybe, you know, that didn't go the way I wanted it to go. I don't want to have that experience again. And then using that desire to not have that experience again motivate you to then say, okay, well, what would I do differently the next time? I.e., what have I learned from what went wrong? And how is that teaching me what better looks like, or what, you know, what I would need to, you know, how I would need to try a different strategy the next time in order to have a success. And it's through that process that you grow, because you have to try new and different things. And that's what growth is all about. If it was as simple as just, you know, learn one sort of strategy, one kind of formula for how you're going to get stuff done, and you do it over and over and over again, you might be successful for a while, but you're not really growing, right? So sometimes, absent other, you know, prompts, if you will, the biggest opportunities for growth come out of failure. And the important piece is, how are you choosing to look at and define what it means to fail? And if you see it as a gateway to growth, as opposed to a, you know, this is like an indictment of you as a professional, as a person, whatever, that's what's going to determine whether or not that unfolds into the growth opportunity that it can be.
That's profound. I got that. Beautiful. So let's get
Thank you.
personal a bit, all right? So,
Sure.
what helped you bounce back from tough moments?
Oh my goodness. Many, 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 many. Let's see. I've had lots of times when things didn't go as planned in my professional life. Now, I've been fortunate. I also, you know, worked hard to bounce back all the time, but I had a lot of support along the way. But you know, there were times when, you know, I'm thinking right now of, I mean, I can't give all the details, but there was a major, major, how do we put it? was more than a project, but there was a significant investment that we were making in the department that I was part of and a project that I was leading to outsource uh, part of the function of the human resources department. And there were many, many people who were going to be impacted. We had been working on this for over a year. And we were literally within, weeks of actually making the transition to this external partner. And at the same time, there was a change in leadership at the organization, at our organization, who, was at the top of the house, as it were. And this individual had a very different philosophy about how we should be moving forward and was not at all in favor of this outsourcing arrangement. And, the mistake that I made, and I wasn't alone in this initially, was thinking, well, this person wishes we had done it differently, but they're just telling us that, but we're 2 weeks away from going live. Like, we're still going to do this. So I just keep going, only to then, learn that no, this individual really, and along with some of the other leaders, really wanted us to change course.
Mm.
And so that was, we lost some time because arguably the view that we should take a different path had been conveyed probably 2 months prior. And instead of me understanding that it wasn't just a casual, like, well, I would have done it differently, but that actually that was that person's way of saying, change it. It resulted in a very painful scramble, at the end of the year. Now, again, I don't take all of that as me, but I certainly played a significant role in, maybe I should have read the tea leaves better sooner, and at least afforded our broader team a little bit more time to make the pivot that we were being asked to make. Instead, it turned into, more of an intense, as we say, fire drill, and it happened to coincide with the holiday period, and it just led to a significant amount of disruption. And there was a lot that had to be done to, rebuild trust across the team, who had just dedicated so much time and energy and, attention and frankly stress to getting us to, we're almost about to go live, and then to have it, change so swiftly at the end. I think I think it was certainly a challenge to my leadership, right? Because I had been guiding everyone in one direction, and now we were going to make an about face, and you don't want people to feel like they've just wasted, months of their life. And, rightly so, they're wondering, well, what happened? And, how could you not understand this shift sooner? So, I took a lot of learnings from that experience, not least of which is when a CEO is making any kind of comment, even if it seems like they're being sort of understated about it, execu speak at the top of the house. Usually if they're saying, I don't really like something, you need to really be prepared to take action and not just think it's a casual
Exactly.
comment. Um, um, and I was, I felt a certain sting of embarrassment almost around that. But I also knew that the answer was not to go hide in the sand and or to blame other people. It was, hey, this part of leadership is leading people through significant amounts of ambiguity and disruption and changes at the 11th hour, and doing that with integrity. And so even if I could have handled this better sooner, what's important right now is that I handle what's in front of me as best I can, what it is, and try to be as honest and clear with the team about why we're making this change and not get caught up in like venting and blaming, you know, other people for their role in it, because that's not helpful. That's not what people need in that moment. And this circumstance, in essence, required me to step up and do what was going to be most helpful for the broader team, even if I felt worried about my reputation or what people were going to think of me. So it was not fun at the time, but it's an important experience, I think, to go through as a leader, because the thing is, again, no road is ever straight. and things are always changing, and you've got to do your best to lead people carefully through that confusing maze, and still, and take responsibility and not look for other people to blame, which would have been
Exactly.
the easy way out. Yeah.
Hmm.
So
Beautiful,
I don't know if
beautiful.
that answers your question, but
Yeah, it did.
yeah.
That was a tough experience, but it worth it. Why? Because you learned every lessons in it. And now you're sharing that with
Yes,
us now. That's a beautiful one. And
exactly.
I'll take that as a
Yeah.
final thought. So for folks who would like to reach
Thank
out to
you.
you, Courtney, or join your programs or learn more about everything we've discussed, how can that be possible?
The best thing for folks to do is connect with me on LinkedIn. It's very easy to find me because my last name is fairly unique. So Courtney Intersimone. Just look up my profile. Connect, send a message, or you can also reach me at my email, which is Courtney@CourtneyIntersimone.com. And would love to hear from folks. Always keen to meet and connect with other professionals who are looking for better ways to chart their growth path. And yeah, hope to hear from you.
Beautiful. So that's going to be the end of the show, Courtney. Thank you so very much for
Great.
coming. And thank you for sharing this beautiful stuff with us. It means a whole lot. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.